What's up? My name is Zether, and this is What If Naruto Had a Blood Kekkei Genkai. Enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We begin our story with Naruto's birth. The way that everything plays out in canon is essentially the same way that everything happens. The only real change that's going to be happening will come in the form of Naruto's appearance. Instead of having Minato's yellow hair, instead, Naruto's actually going to be born with Kushina's red hair. Now, many of you guys are probably like, okay, and how does this even change anything? Honestly, it was just for aesthetics because of the fact that Naruto's gonna have a blood Kekkei Genkai. So I figured it would be like more, it would make more sense if Naruto had red like blood like hair, you know what I mean? So people could call him like Crimson, you know, they could give him like a really cool nickname. Have I thought of the nickname yet? No. And in case you guys think of a really cool nickname that I could give Naruto for his enemies, then definitely comment it down below. But the way that everything happens in canon is pretty much the way that everything happens in this version. The only other small change of the story is actually going to be that when Kurama ends up piercing into Minato and Kushima's bodies, where they throw themselves in front of a young baby Naruto to protect him, their blood would end up pretty much splattering onto Naruto. Now this Naruto, who would clearly just be a baby, would have a little bit of his parents' blood, both of them, just pretty much splash on his body. Now, upon this happening, their blood would start sinking into the body of Naruto, and Naruto would begin to slightly end up, kind of absorbing their essence within himself. Now, obviously he has their genetics because, you know, it's Minato and Kushina, but it's actually becomes a stronger bond, something that Naruto's going to be able to identify with in a more special way, I guess is the word I'm looking for. A special way. Now, that said, what ends up essentially occurring after this is Naruto would end up pretty much having his life play out just like it does in canon, meaning Naruto would still end up being raised by Hiruzen, and Naruto would still end up being kicked out after pretty much being told to everybody that Naruto was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. So after Naruto was actually told that he was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and apologies real quick, I'm about to move my mic. It's like shaking a lot for some reason right now. I'm not really sure why, but anyways though, so after Naruto would end up pretty much being kicked out and all that stuff, we cut to the day when Naruto is essentially helping Hinata out against these young bullies. Now at this point, though, the small children that bully Hinata in canon would do this as they would call her a wide-eyed freak, they would call her ghost eyes, they would pretty much begin bullying a young Hinata, who at this point is like the sweetest person ever, you know what I mean? She literally doesn't bother anybody, and she kind of stays in her own lane, so it kind of is really rude to see this. So Naruto, seeing all of this go down, is kind of just looking at the kids and is thinking, why are they doing all this? So Naruto, being the person that he is, would actually end up deciding that he's gonna step in for her, because if she can't do it for herself, then he's gonna do it for her. And so at this point, Naruto would proceed to look at Hinata, and he would end up pretty much just saying, all right, I'm gonna help her. He would have rushed in there, and at this point he would essentially begin to get beat up by the bullies. That is, until eventually Naruto would start throwing a couple blows back, and he would actually end up fighting those kids off. Now at this point, Naruto would actually be covered by a whole lot of blood that is his and not his. And at this point, one of the people that watch over Hinata, her caretaker I guess you could say, would end up arriving to essentially start taking care of Hinata, being like, hey, don't get near that boy. As Hinata pretty much gets dragged away from the situation, Naruto would look at his hands and see that they were actually covered in blood. As at this point, Naruto would begin to say, yeah, I guess you're welcome. As Hinata didn't even have the chance to say thanks. Naruto at this point would end up simply saying, it's not like I was looking for thanks anyways. He would begin walking home through the snow, as at this point, Naruto would end up kind of just being like, ugh, I wish this blood could just get off of me. And for a split second, it seemed as if Naruto was able to pretty much control the blood, as all of the blood that was on his body that he pretty much just said, I wish this was off of me, would end up instantly going off of Naruto. Like all the blood that was there, it's gone. Like it falls off of Naruto and it's pretty much like a droplet that's rising in the air, like in front of him. It's just staying there. It's like levitating. Naruto would hold his hands onto it and would kind of be like, whoa, as it begins forming itself into a spear. No, not a spear, a sphere. Not a spear like a spear that you throw, but a sphere, like a circle, right? And he would end up seeing this, being like, this is incredible. Naruto at this point would pretty much have this ball of blood in his hand, and he would end up deciding, awesome. He would touch it and it would fall on his hand, and at this point Naruto would try to use that same ability once more, but it wouldn't work whatsoever. At this point, Naruto would be like, this is incredible. I have to tell somebody about this. And the only person that Naruto has to essentially talk to at all is Hiruzen. So what would end up happening here is Naruto would end up going to Hiruzen's office, where he would end up explaining that he has these strange abilities. Naruto would start swearing up and down that he controlled blood. He did it. He controlled blood for a second. Hiruzen, hearing this, would be like, what? Blood manipulation? And he would say, Naruto boy, show me this ability of yours. At this point, Naruto would essentially begin being like, all right, I'll try. As from here, he would end up trying to, mimic the same ability, but Naruto was inevitably unable to do so. So after seeing this happen, this like sad attempt of Naruto trying to use some strange ability he clearly doesn't have in Hiruzen's eyes, he would say, that's enough, Naruto. Look, I've seen what I needed to see. If you need attention, Naruto, go make some friends. You don't have to come lie to me. Trust me. As Naruto would say, no, I really, but Hiruzen would say, come on, Naruto, just go back home. He would say, wait, before you do, here's a little extra rent money for this month. Go get yourself something to eat. As from here, Naruto would think, but I wasn't lying, as he would end up pretty much leaving. And at this point, Naruto would be like, well, I mean, I guess at least I got a snack out of this. And from here, Naruto would proceed to essentially walk over towards his favorite spot to eat at, Ichiraku Ramen. Now, give me a second, guys. Naruto would proceed to... He would arrive, and at this point, he would end up pulling out a chair, as Naruto would sit down and say, hey, let me get a miso pork bowl, ASAP. As at this point, the Ichiraku Ramen guy would say, oh, Naruto, it's you. Sure thing, I'll have it out for you in about 2 minutes. And Naruto at this point would smile, before he would then get his bowl and proceed to devour this meal. At this point, Ichiraku, seeing that Naruto was clearly hungry, would proceed to whip up another one, saying, this one right here, this one's on the house, Naruto. Naruto would smile as he would say, thank you. And from here, he would proceed devouring the second one, as Ichiraku would say, so Naruto, who are your parents? How have things been? Naruto at this point would pretty much go silent and say, my parents? Before he would say, I don't know who they are. Ichiraku at this point would say, sorry if it's a touchy subject, Naruto. I was just wondering. And at this point, Naruto would stop eating and pay for his food, as he would pretty much leave, as he would finish his food up real quick. At this point, Naruto would end up going home, as when he was walking, he would be wondering, who are my parents? I never found this out. I don't even know what they look like, their names. Why don't I even know their names? At least other orphans know who their parents were, but me? I don't know a thing. Maybe my parents were super strong. Maybe my parents could use these blood abilities that I could. He began wondering these questions back and forth in his mind as he would arrive home, toss himself on his bed as he begins looking up on the ceiling, pondering, who were my parents? At this point, Naruto would end up passing out after wondering this question for a bit, and he would then essentially wake up the next day as he would think, yeah, who are my parents? But at this point, another thought would interrupt him. The thought of that ability that he used. He knows he used it. He's not crazy, is he? He's not a psychopath. He knows he has some sort of strange ability. Naruto was there, he was the one who controlled the blood. Blood doesn't just magically flow. It had to be him. It had to have been. Naruto at this point would say it would become his life mission, you know what I mean, to pretty much start learning what this ability is. And for the next 2 months, Naruto would begin pretty much scavenging the libraries, reading books, trying to find out anything and everything he could about this ability. And one thing that Naruto would end up finding out towards the final month is a book that pretty much just says one thing, that a blood ability, it would just say vaguely something about a blood ability that was around a long time ago. Now, when Naruto sees this, he's like, a blood ability? He would say, that's what I have. And he would begin looking for more, but nothing else. That was literally it. In all of the archives that the library has, that was all Naruto was able to find. And so Naruto would begin thinking, damn it. So I guess I couldn't find the origin of this ability that I have. Well, that's fine. Naruto at this point would end up going back to his favorite place to rest at whenever Naruto feels uneasy or he feels some sort of way, on top of the Hokage monuments, specifically the 4th Hokage, Minato's. When Naruto was on top of that, he would be overlooking the village wondering, I wonder who my dad was. Maybe he was incredible. I guess I'll never know. And from here, Naruto would end up thinking, wait, my parents, my origin. If I couldn't find out this blood ability, maybe I can find out who they were. And so from here, Naruto would begin to essentially go towards the Hiruzen's office, where he would sneak in through the window and say, hey old man, I have a question for you. At this point, Naruto would begin pretty much asking Hiruzen, who's my dad? And from here, Hiruzen would say not to worry about that it's nothing important, that they're dead anyways. Well, not saying it that harshly, but saying that whoever they were, it doesn't really matter to him that much. You know what I mean? Like he has Hiruzen there. Naruto would end up saying, but that's not the point. I just want to know who they are. Hiruzen would say, no, Naruto. Unfortunately, I don't know. He would end up lying to Naruto, and Naruto would end up saying, oh, I understand. He would ask around a couple of villagers, and all of them would end up lying to Naruto, saying that they have no idea who Naruto's father is or mother. A lot of them would actually be genuine, because they genuinely don't know who Minato and Kushina were, or that Kushina was even pregnant whatsoever. So Naruto wouldn't end up finding anything out. And for years, Naruto would simply just train his blood ability after finding out what he had, and after pretty much continuously trying to use this ability of his, he would end up realizing that the key to using this ability was whenever this ability kind of went with his emotions and what he wanted to specifically do at this moment. Something that he wanted to do, a goal. That's what helped Naruto control this ability. And so, for the following years, Naruto would proceed to train on this blood bending or blood Kekkei Genkai ability, until eventually he would become extremely proficient at using this ability. What can he do? You're pretty much going to have to stick around at the what if, and I'm just going to be making up abilities as I go. And trust me, it's going to be one hell of a ride. That being said, at this point, he would end up pretty much, let's say like 2 months before the academy begins, he would end up, still wondering, who are my parents? And eventually, Naruto would end up finding out about a person by the name of Kushina Uzumaki, the previous Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. After finding that out, it was only a matter of common sense putting the pieces together and finding out that Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage. Naruto at this point would look at himself, look at the 4th Hokage monument, and think, how could I have been so blind? The resemblance is uncanny. He would then think, so, that's my dad. Huh. Why'd you have to leave me, Pops? But from here, Naruto would stop thinking like that and think, that must be why I always felt at home whenever I stood on top of that monument. Huh. Looks like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. And from here, Naruto would then close his eyes as he thinks, I'm just so glad I finally... He would then think, Hiruzen must have known. He appointed my father to be the next Hokage. There's no way he didn't know Minato was my dad. At this point, rage would begin boiling into Naruto as he would begin to overthink everything, just being like, these villagers must have known. They must have known Minato was my father. I come from pretty much royalty. A Kage was my father, and they dare treated me like scum for all these years? I'm gonna make them pay. This village, it's gonna crumble to its knees, and I'm gonna make sure each and every single person who did me wrong feels the same pain that I did. They're gonna be sorry for what they did to me by the time I'm done with them. As from here, Naruto would proceed to essentially change his whole perspective towards the Hidden Leaf Village and towards the world itself. Naruto would begin getting a cocky feeling within himself because Naruto feels angry that he should be treated like a hero rather than an outcast. He's the son of a Kage after all. From here, Naruto would begin training his blood ability even harder until eventually the first day of the academy would arrive. And when this does arrive, Naruto would end up pretty much walking into the classroom as Iruka sensei would say, "Hello everybody, for the first day of class, I'm going to be asking you guys a pretty tough question, and it's going to be up to you guys to answer it, alright?" He would then proceed to ask, now this is going to be a question towards you guys, so if you guys want to answer it down below in the comment section, then definitely do so. I'm going to be pinning the first person to answer, no, am I going to be pinning them? Yeah, sure, why not? I'm going to be pinning the first person to give me the right answer. What was Naruto's first love? Okay, that's a question. It's a really impossible one. Trust me, you won't get it right. Anyways though, that aside, before I actually continue the video, I need to tell you guys about something really quick. Now, I am currently doing a giveaway on the channel, and it's pretty much just a Bakugo statue. Now, how big is the statue? It's about like 9 inches long, and why did I say it like that? Pause! It's a pretty big statue, you know what I mean? It's Bakugo using his explosions. He looks pretty cool. He has like an angry pose. In case you guys want to see what it looks like, I'm going to be putting a picture up on screen of what it looks like. If I don't, scold me down below in the comments. But if you want to enter the giveaway, literally all you have to do is comment #giveaway, like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. That being said, that's literally all you have to do to enter the giveaway. Anyways, good luck, and let's get back into the story. Okay, so the way that the story would then continue on from this point is Iruka would then proceed to hand out tests to everybody. Common knowledge tests, things that they should know at their current age. And a bunch of people would take it, failing, some would pass, and others would do better than other people, you know what I mean? People who are doing the best would definitely be people along the likes of Sasuke and, you know, I would say Shikamaru, but Shikamaru would think, this is such a drag, you know what I mean? In classic Shikamaru fashion. That being said, Naruto would proceed to essentially just look at Iruka as, you know, he ends up taking his test, he gets like an average score, and then everybody would be told to meet him outside. They're going to be doing an obstacle course and seeing how fast it takes him to clear it. Now Naruto would go through it, and when he does go through it, instead of actually throwing kunais or stuff like that, Naruto would actually like pretty much like point his fingers at the direction of where the targets are, and from the tips of his fingers, blood would literally shoot out of it from Naruto's body as it would turn into senbon like needles and pierce right into them. As Iruka would say, incredible. At this point, Naruto would clear the entire course, and he would get a pretty good score, you know what I mean? He would get something close to Itachi's score, 2 seconds behind that. So yeah, he gets a pretty good score. That being said, Sasuke would do pretty well as well, and after that, everybody would end up having their little sparring matches to see how strong they are individually. When Naruto ends up going up, he actually ends up going up against Sasuke. However, if you guys want to see what happens in this fight, you guys are actually going to be having to smash a grand total like goal of 1,000 likes. That's right, 1,000 likes. If this video doesn't get 1,000 likes, I'm straight up just going to like just grab the video, like start crunching it up like a ball, throw it in the trash can, forget about it, because I'm not entertaining a what if that doesn't do good number wise, you know what I mean? If it gets low views, then I'm sorry to the people who liked it, but I'm gonna have to cancel it and move on to another project which will probably do better. But if you guys do smash the like goal, then hey, it's gonna stick around. Anyways, so guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, then definitely make sure to go down below and let me know what you guys thought about today's video. Give me your thoughts, give me the awesome name for Naruto that we should give him, for that something that he should unlock after fighting against Zabuza if he survives. And yeah, with that being said, it has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.